I've seen this film twice now, and I gotta say, I appreciate the Backrooms way more upon a second viewing. Welcome to Bite Size Bunny, my name's Tony, and today we are going to be talking about the Backrooms. In this film, we follow Clark, the manager of a failing furniture store who finds this mysterious hidden door in the basement of his store. What lies behind that door is a never-ending subliminal space made up of an empty office building made up entirely of yellow rooms. The first half of this movie is a masterclass in how to build tension and craft an atmospheric horror experience. As Clark explores the Backrooms, I simultaneously found myself frustrated with his character and kind of understanding where he's coming from. Because while I found myself wondering, what the hell are you doing? Why aren't you turning around and going back? I also couldn't help but be intrigued and fascinated by this uncanny nightmarish location and wanting to see more of it. I couldn't take my eyes off the screen, and I couldn't help but be curious to see what was going to be in that next room. Chiwetel Ejiofor is excellent in this. He brings so much nuance to his performance that really helps flesh out the character of Clark. Clark is an awful person, but how this film goes about packaging this character and presenting him to the audience is so cleverly handled. Because in this film, we get to see two sides of this character. We get to see the mask that he puts on when he's around people because he's so desperate to be right and feel justified in his actions, no matter how wrong they are. But then there's the side of Clark we get to learn through the environmental storytelling of this film, as the Backrooms kind of give us little glimpses into who this man is, as it showcases various details that are reflected back to him in this uncanny horror nature. And with those little tidbits of information scattered throughout the film, we slowly get to piece together who the real Clark is. When it comes to the rest of the cast, I like the other characters in this film, and I do think the actors do a great job with their performances, but I don't think they're anywhere near as interesting as that Clark character. Really, I think my biggest issue with this movie is the first half does such a good job at continuously ramping things up. It progressively gets freakier and more unnerving to watch, and it all crescendos to this big story moment that rocks. The movie feels like it is firing on all cylinders, and then it kind of just slams on the brakes and takes a hard pivot with the story, which completely pulled me out of the tension they were building so well up to that point. And what makes it kind of disappointing is that while the second half of this movie is still really good, you can tell they're trying to build that tension back up to where they were at the end of the first half of this movie, and they never quite reached those high highs again. Don't get me wrong, there's still some really strong moments in the second half of the Backrooms, and I do think it wraps up pretty well. I just couldn't help but feel like it accidentally peaks a little too early. But overall, Backrooms is still a great horror film and an insanely impressive directorial debut. I'm honestly really excited to see what else they do with this universe. In the meantime, I'm gonna be giving Backrooms an 8 out of 10. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this review. Like, subscribe, and all that YouTube stuff. And have you seen Backrooms yet? If so, what are your thoughts on the movie? I'd love to know.